Lestrade inside?
Yes, sir. May I have your name, please?
Yes, Sherlock Holmes. This is Dr. Watson.
Oh, that's quite all right, sir. Inspector Lestrade gave instructions to admit you.
Oh, good. Oh, by the way, has the body been removed?
No, sir, but the medical examiner's just gone.
Oh, thank you. Let's hope they haven't moved things about too much. The police forces of the world seem to have an organized science of messing things about.
Oh, I wouldn't say that, Holmes.
Now then, move along there, everybody. Move along. There's nothing to see today.
I don't know. I swear I don't know. I tried to help him. Don't you believe me? I had to do what I could. It was instinctive.
It was instinctive for a woman like you to commit murder.
That's not true. You know it's not true. I know you hate me, but you can't believe I'd do a thing like this.
Yes, I can, and I do.
Please.
She's a murderess. You know it as well as I. She murdered your brother.
It's a lie.
Yes, it's a lie. Your entire story's a lie. The relationship you had with my son was a lie. My son's been murdered. This girl's a murderess. Why she did it, what her motive was, I don't know. They were engaged without my blessing. I can only be grateful that she gains nothing by her crime. Your duty now is to convict her.
Just a moment, please. Notice the angle of incision, Watson.
Yes.
And the force of the blow and the general penetration of the upper region of the chest. How long would you estimate before loss of consciousness?
Well, it's difficult to say.
30 seconds. Minutes?
Oh, between the two.
I see. And death?
Shortly thereafter.
2 minutes? 3?
3 or 4, I'd say.
Thank you, Watson. All right, take him out. Ah, forgive the interruption. I would prefer to have been invited before the body had been moved.
I thought you'd be interested, Holmes.
Oh, thank you, Lestrade. Well, may I introduce my friend, Dr. Watson, Inspector Lestrade of Scotland Yard?
How do you do?
How do you know?
So you're completely stuck, eh, Lestrade?
What do you mean?
Well, you thought I'd be interested. Why don't you admit it? You're in a jam. Magnificent cabinet work, don't you think?
What you say isn't exactly true, Holmes. I've done you a favor. This is an interesting case. Of course, there are 1 or 2 unexplained details, but I don't believe it'll be long before we're
What's
clear.
your principal problem?
There's no motive.
I found this girl with a knife in her hand. My brother lying dead on the floor.
I found Peter on the floor. I tried to help him
By stabbing him?
by removing the knife. Anybody would have done the same thing. I love him.
Oh, my dear young lady, there's no cause for you to alarm yourself. No one's accusing you of, well, of what happened.
This would be a clear-cut case if only she had a reason for murdering him. There happened to be a policeman outside the house during the murder, and he said that no one came in except her.
Well, what about the others? Who benefits by her death?
Well, no one. The estate was left in such a way that if he died before he married, everything went to charity.
My dear Inspector Lestrade, he didn't die before he married. This young lady and the man whose body was carried out of here have been married for at least a week. In the event of his death, I imagine everything passes to her.
And now we return to the case of the Cunningham heritage.
How did you know they were married?
Weren't you?
Yes, a week ago.
Then you do benefit by my brother's death. You're his heir.
I don't know if I am or not. I only know I didn't kill him. I swear I didn't.
Where were you married?
We went down to Brighton last weekend.
Well, why didn't Peter say anything about it?
I don't know. He asked me not to say anything, so of course I didn't.
I'm afraid, young lady, I'll have to ask you to accompany me to headquarters.
Sam.
Excuse me, Inspector. I think I should tell my mother.
Oh, yes, of course.
Tell me, Holmes, how did you know they were married?
Well, the man's hands had the remains of a sunburn and the fading marks of a narrow ring, but not as yet that indentation of the finger a ring generally leaves. A weekend in the sun at Brighton explains the whole thing perfectly.
I didn't notice these things.
Yes, I know. The young lady's hands were also sunburned, and to the same degree.
Then the case is solved.
Yes, it would appear so, wouldn't it?
What are you looking for?
How do you see that?
What?
Here, use this.
Well, that's only the cut in the carpet.
Yes, but it's a fresh one.
Yes, but what does it mean?
That's a good question.
You'll stop looking for clues now, Holmes.
Ah, you've solved the case, then.
Completely.
Oh, splendid.
Seems this girl had a record. 9 months in the woman's prison in Holloway, from the 21st of February, 1892, to the 21st of November, 1892. She was employed as a governess and convicted for stealing £300 from her employer.
It's quite true. I knew you'd find out sometime. I made a mistake 5 years ago, but I paid for it. But Peter knew all about it before we were married. I never tried to hide it from him.
You didn't know what else you had in mind.
I had nothing else in mind except that I loved him.
I'm afraid I must ask you to go with the office on this. Rather, madam. Well, that's how I like my cases. Fast and simple.
Oh, indeed. You must tell me some more about it.
Well, there's nothing to tell, really. Her story was that Peter asked her to call here at 10 sharp. She arrived, found the door open for her, came in here and found him writhing on the floor with a knife in his chest. She screamed, pulled it out. Just then, Brother Ralph walked in. Peter died without saying another word. So she stabbed him for the inheritance and was caught in the act. Simple.
Well, falling off a log. Couldn't be simpler, could it, Watson?
I still think it's a tragedy.
Yes, but in my job, Dr. Watson, we run up against it all the time. Cigar?
No, thank you. Well, I suppose you've had some amazing adventures.
Yes, but one learns to have a real philosophy of life and get a good perspective.
Yes, I suppose so. But just the same, I think it's a pity.
Just another case of a clever girl being too clever.
For a clever girl who intended to murder her husband, she certainly chose the most stupid possible way to commit the crime.
What was that?
Well, what's this?
Checkbook.
Oh, amazing deduction, Lestrade. Look.
So Peter Cunningham drew a check for £1,000.
6 weeks ago. And 5 weeks ago. And 4. And 3. And 2. And that's all.
Well?
They're drawn to cash.
Well, I don't get your point. He was a very rich man.
Well, it's a great deal of cash.
It was his own money. I suppose he could do what he liked with it.
You may have hit the proverbial nail, Lestrade.
Now, look here, Holmes. You're trying to start something that just doesn't exist.
Oh, do you think so?
I have a great deal of respect for your opinion, Holmes. But your trouble is that you can't leave things alone. If there isn't a mystery, you have to make one, or you're not happy.
You're right, I'm not happy. There are marks on the carpet indicating a struggle. The man whose body was carried out of here was over 6 feet in height. If he had struggled with a girl who had left here, I don't think he'd have lost.
She surprised him.
Oh, but he was expecting her.
That's her story. I'd say she sneaked up on him.
What, had stabbed him in the chest? How do you sneak up on someone and stab him in the chest, Lestrade?
Now, look here, Holmes. You're trying to start something, and I just won't stand for it. That girl's a jailbird, and she's guilty, and she's going to hang. And that's the end of the case.
I see Inspector Lestrade is up to his usual mental gymnastics, trying to hammer square pegs into round holes.
Well, Lord, it's been a great pleasure meeting you, Inspector.
I warn you to keep away from that man, Holmes, or you'll be insane in less than a week.